Little Monsters is one of the most repellent, distasteful, truly creepy movies I've seen in a long time. A movie so unpleasant, I can't really figure out why anybody wanted to make it, and I don't know why anybody would want to see it.
Man, that sounds great.
Have you ever rewatched a movie that you haven't seen since childhood, and upon seeing it again, you instantly think, oh, so that's why I had so many nightmares growing up? That's basically my experience with Little Monsters.
Are you looking for your brother?
Well, we've got him!
If I were to describe this movie to someone who has never seen it, I would say it's like a darker Monsters, Inc., mixed with a bit of Home Alone, and just a dash of Beetlejuice.
You amaze me. Okay, Gumby, showtime!
But it's also so much more than that.
I suppose you're going to tell me your sister did this.
Uh-huh.
Little Monsters was the first produced feature film screenplay by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, who just a couple of years later would become one of the most powerful screenwriting duos in the industry, thanks to their work on films like Aladdin, The Mask of Zorro, and the Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Never, ever, ever forget that! Ever!
The movie is also the first and only directed feature by special effects designer Richard Allen Greenberg, a veteran of movies like Flash Gordon and Predator. It's impressive how every aspect of Little Monsters comes together, despite the relative inexperience of the director and the writers at that point in time.
Gomer, Brian Gomer.
Any friend of Maurice is a friend of mine.
But having worked in special effects, director Richard Greenberg really helps this world and the monsters in it come to life.
Do they all look like you?
Only the good-looking ones.
The film centers around a young boy Brian, played by Fred Savage, who discovers a portal to a sinister world of monsters located under his bed.
Oh, God, please stop. I can't take it. You're frightening me.
This happens after Brian traps and befriends one of those monsters, Maurice, played by Howie Mandel.
Boo. Keep an eye out for monsters!
This was actually the film that caused Howie to take a step back from starring in movies, due to how grueling the shoot was.
Oh, ow. Whoa, ow.
That's gotta hurt! It's gotta hurt!
Prior to this movie, Howie had headlined 3 feature films, which are all perfect candidates for this series, especially A Fine Mess, which was a modern-day take on Laurel and Hardy, as well as Walk Like a Man, where he plays a guy that was raised by wolves.
Where's my brother?
This is Bobo. This is him. Bobo, get off there!
Oh, God, please stop. I can't take it. You're frightening me.
Mandel had to undergo over 4 hours of makeup each day to transform into his character.
Great. Now nobody's gonna recognize me.
And transform he does, as he is barely recognizable as Maurice the Monster.
In fact, Little Monsters is the reason that I decided not to do any more movies. I had done 4 or 5 movies.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I thought it would be really cool, to kind of like dress up and be a monster. So, and it was just glued onto every pore, everything. There's just my whole head is covered all the way down to my neck in just latex rubber.
There you go, bud. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll keep this.
Every little detail about him, from his dangling skeleton earring to his leather vest, really make Maurice such a visually interesting character.
Whoa, and I ain't getting any prettier.
Maurice does feel a little bit like Beetlejuice,
Wait. Let me get it. Wow. I thought it was something good, but it's not.
but in making him so different visually, it really sets the character apart.
No. Duh. Where'd you park the squad car, Dick Tracy? Come on.
All of the main monster characters were designed by artist Alan Monroe, who had done design work on Beetlejuice. His sketches were brought to life by makeup designer Robert Short and his team. While the movie is populated with dozens of monsters, they each feel unique and different from one another, which couldn't have been easy to achieve, both for the makeup designers and the performers.
Hey, come here. What's that on your shirt? Get out of here.
Other than Maurice, the most impressive monster designs are that of the villain Boy, played by Frank Whaley, and his sidekick Snick, played by Rick Dukeman.
I don't know. I have a hunch.
Hunch? Is that my hunch you're talking about, Maurice?
Oh, no. I take it back. Back? No, hunch back!
Who appeared in another 80s horror comedy, The Burbs, which I'll probably come back to at a later date.
Hey, you guys, look. These cookies are open. That's great. All right, everybody. Very nice.
Again, it's impossible to discuss this movie without making comparisons to Monsters, Inc. But whereas Monsters, Inc. presents its monster-inhabited land as a whimsical paradise, not too dissimilar from our own reality, the monster land in this film is a desolate hellscape, a world plagued by darkness and nightmares. While the monsters in Monsters, Inc. treat scaring children as an industry, here the monsters just like scaring kids and causing trouble for the fun of it.
I bet he's dreaming about puppies and his favorite baseball player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not for long.
There's a great little montage where Brian and Maurice play pranks on unsuspecting kids. That's just so menacing, especially when we get to see the kids' reaction the following morning.
I'm innocent! I'm innocent! I'll take a lie detector test! If you didn't do it... Who did? I don't know!
But that menace is truly what sets this movie apart. I miss when kids' movies weren't afraid to be a little mean-spirited.
Maurice, why'd you do that?
There were a lot of kids' movies from around this time that were all unafraid to be menacing.
Kick him in the nose! He doesn't have nose! Do it! Wolfman's got nose!
But it was such a great way to show the contrast between the antagonistic villains and the kid protagonists who chose to reject that evil in the end.
Come on, stop it!
Brian, relax, okay?
Maurice, this is cruel.
In turn, these movies became gateways to the horror genre, and a big reason why so many of us love scary things as adults. I mean, it doesn't get more menacing than replacing your bully's apple juice with literal piss.
Ronnie's gonna be pissed.
No kidding!
The monsters access our world through a series of towering staircases which lead underneath our beds. The production team went above and beyond in designing and building this set. It's just chock full of details and lure. It reminds me a lot of Paradise Island from Pinocchio, a lawless world of anarchy with no adult supervision.
It's about total 100% unadulterated. Where's the beef? Anarchy!
As a kid, I always wished I could have visited this place, as scary as it is, because they just make it look so fun.
Hey, somebody wants you over there.
Whoa!
Years later, stars Fred Savage and Howie Mandel reunited on Howie's talk show, because apparently that was a thing.
Well, you see...
In Wilmington, North Carolina, which is a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
It was August.
And we were working in a factory that was condemned.
Right.
This factory had been condemned, and then it wasn't like it was condemned and then refurbished. It was condemned and abandoned.
That's why it was cheap for us to work
and
there.
then so our production company scooped it up, you know.
They got a
and
deal.
It was I think it was condemned because I think it was toxic.
Coincidentally, the location used to house this immersive dystopian set would be used to house another huge dystopian set just a few years later, in Super Mario Bros.
Wow.
The rest of the scenes showcasing Brian's home life were also shot in and around Wilmington, North Carolina. Some of the elements of Brian's home life feel a little generic, as he's the new kid in town struggling to fit in as his parents are going through a separation. But I'm able to forgive a lot of the generic plot elements due to the casting of Brian's family.
Yuck.
Making his film debut as Brian's younger brother Eric is Fred's real-life little brother Ben. Another fun connection is the casting of Daniel Stern, narrator of The Wonder Years, as their father.
You're dead, mister.
It's great to see him in the role of a suburban dad, as it's so unlike his role in Home Alone, which would come just a couple of years later.
Glenn.
And speaking of Home Alone, a young Devin Rattray plays the school bully.
You want this back?
Talk about being typecast.
Woof.
Little Monsters was one of the last handful of movies financed by the struggling Vestron Pictures. It barely got a theatrical release as a result, opening at number 25 at the box office on August 25th, 1989. Fortunately, it found a second life on home video and cable, where most of us 90s kids discovered it. I can still remember the opening to the VHS.
They got the scoop, they'll tell you more. Check out the display at your video store. Check it out. Go ahead.
Like the best horror comedies, Little Monsters succeeds in treating both genres seriously. There's some genuinely scary stuff in this movie, but it's balanced perfectly with a lot of really funny set pieces and performances.
Got him, need him, got him, need him, got him, need him, got him, need him.
And I'm pleased that a childhood favorite holds up so many years later.
The name's Maurice, and I'll catch you later.